All right, what happens when a former environmental crusader turned vaccine skeptic takes the reins of the nation's health policy? Well, you get a hearing like the one we just saw.
What I would say is my opinions about vaccines are irrelevant.
This week, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. testified before both chambers of Congress. And to call it eventful would be an understatement.
The witness will suspend. The committee will come to order.
The House side kicked off with a protest that felt like it was ripped straight from a documentary on American contradictions. Now that protester you just saw, well, he's none other than Ben Cohen. Yes, that Ben of Ben and Jerry's? Well, you just saw him hauled away by Capitol Police while shouting, "Congress is paying to bomb poor kids in Gaza, and paying for it by kicking poor kids off Medicaid in the U.S.
Down the hallway.
Ben, why are you getting arrested?
Move down the hallway. Stop, you will be arrested.
Kills poor kids in Gaza by buying bombs and pays for it by kicking kids off Medicaid in the U.S.
Keep going down. Keep going down the hallway.
It was a jarring juxtaposition. RFK Jr., now a part of the Republican administration, being disrupted by a progressive ally from his past. But this moment was more than theater. It was a distillation. One of the chaos that has come to define RFK Jr.'s tenure and public persona.
But would you vaccinate your child for measles?
If I answer that question directly, that it will seem like I'm giving advice to other people, and I don't want to be doing that.
Kennedy himself seemed less like the leader of the federal health agency and more like someone reluctantly trapped in the role. Asked whether he would vaccinate a child for measles, a straightforward yes or no question, he dodged.
If you had a child today, would you vaccinate that child for measles?
For measles, probably for measles. What I would say is my opinions about vaccines are irrelevant.
You see, that's a strange stance for the head of Health and Human Services, especially when the country is battling more than 1,000 active measles cases in 2025. His fallback was to defer to NIH doctors, insisting he's just promoting radical transparency. But transparency is meaningless without clarity, and Kennedy offered neither.
Yesterday, unfortunately, it was released that there was a death related to this outbreak. We have seen an increase in people coming to get vaccinated. There are pockets of our population that are hesitant toward vaccination. And so we have seen some of those people, realize that this threat kind of is more imminent and have made that decision to vaccinate.
On the Senate side, things didn't improve. RFK Jr. was pressed about cuts to LIHEAP, a lifeline for low-income families struggling with energy bills.
The other thing that really troubles me, sir, is LIHEAP. It is a program specifically to address the needs of low-income and minority families as it relates to heating and even air conditioning. Why? And what is your rationale for eliminating that program specifically? Why?
I'm very committed to LIHEAP. My brother ran a low...
I don't care about your past. I care about your functioning in this department, in this administration right now in response to this question.
My time has expired.
Oh, well then so has your legitimacy.
It was as if he was auditioning for a satire about bureaucratic dysfunction. Kennedy, once the liberal lion suing polluters on behalf of vulnerable communities, is now navigating a strange and precarious identity crisis, caught between MAGA libertarianism and the legacy of New Deal liberalism. He's struggling to reconcile his past convictions with the priorities of an administration slashing safety nets in the name of austerity. And that's the problem. You can't preach radical transparency while refusing to take a stand. You can't claim to champion the vulnerable while gutting programs that serve them. And you definitely can't claim to care about public health while dodging questions about basic immunization in the middle of an outbreak. So, here's the takeaway. RFK Jr., well, he's either trying to do an impossible balancing act, or he's lost sight of the balance altogether. And that's your cold hard truth. Stay curious, stay critical, and I'll see you next time with another truth you need to hear.